Hello everyone, and today I'd like to take a look at the Loadout holo here, the little configuration panel that you use to equip different loadouts on your ship, and I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how that works and what to expect from. So, starting out here, if you're using a keyboard you have to press tab. After you press the use button to power it on, you press tab and move your mouse around. Most people know that. And then it's a drag and drop system. As much as I'd like to take a look at the Avenger, we can't. So we're going to swap the Hornet in here. So you saw what I just did there. I just drag and drop, click the mouse and hold. And then if you want to remove weapons or add weapons, what you have to do then is go up here to this top bar and click and hold on the word, and then slowly slide it over. And then kind of release it, and it'll go to the next tab here. So you'll see I have some guns in the inventory. If you wanted to change out your loadout again, it's just a drag and drop system. But underneath the guns, and underneath like this here, this front port, you can mount radar, and then it also has it's compatible with an object called a gun cantered turret for the Anvil Hornet. But if you look at the left side. Sorry. The right nose slot, since it's just guns, a 1 and 2 size, right nose slot, compatible types gun. And there's also no attachment. There's no, if you look here, you'll see there's a class 2B mount. That's under the wing. That's what the Mantis GT220 mounts onto. There's one of those on the Origin 300i. That one is actually under the nose. So I don't know if they just haven't enabled it yet, or if it doesn't use this type of an object, but there is a part that clips underneath the wing, and that is what your gun attaches to. And so far I've seen Type 1As and Type 2Bs, but up here on the front you'll see that there isn't one. And then on the other side, the front slot, it has a compatible size of 1 to 3. But again, there's no mounting attachment or bracket on there, just the empty slot. Next, one of the biggest differences, I've tried to take the friend or foe and put them onto the Origin, and it doesn't work. First of all, there's a rack. There's a part that clips up inside the wing, and if you don't have that part, these friend or foe missiles will not attach. That has that missile rack anvil part there. Looks very similar to the ammo boxes. And secondly, you can take them off, but the missiles that show up in your inventory, and I'll show you this. So there's the part. Talon Dominator friend or foe quad. Now that's a missile rack. There's no missiles on it, right? Well, if we go over here, we'll see we have these missiles. Marksman 1. ASIM, I guess that's airspace interception missile, if I had to guess. 09C Marksman. So it doesn't actually have a guidance type. It's almost like that's just like the payload is the same, or the missile is the same. It's just the guidance that changes. Because friend or foe would be an IFF signature that would track, right? Whereas, according to lore, what's on the Origin 300i are those Talon image recs, which track the target by basically like facial recognition, shape recognition type software. So we go back here, yeah, so you see that those missiles are just named, this has the actual Dominator friend or foe. And you can't put that on the Origin. That rack will not go onto the rack. But if you can take the missiles off, but even if you take the other missiles off, they all look like this. So right now you can't see, but I have 4 of these in my inventory. And I can put them anywhere I want on any kind of ship, but they become that type of missile once they get mounted. Anyways, let's put that all back together here. I wanted to show you also, you can see the individual parts. If you get a little closer to the screen, you can see them a little better. It's just like the holo viewer that's on the RSI website, right, when you go to the pledge ships. But I wanted to be able to see the description. but I want to load the last missile in here, and you have to put your object on this empty green sphere. If it's sort of a pinkish purple, it means that your object is disqualified and not eligible to be mounted on that slot. But if it's got this green sphere with a little blue ring on the outside, that means whatever you're putting on there will probably work. Or it's not, if it doesn't work, it's not excluded for a particular reason. So then we mount our last missile in there, and I have a really goofy loadout on this Hornet because I also want to test another theory, and I thought you guys might want to see that. So what I've done is I've put the Bulldog repeater and one of the Mantis 220s Gatling guns on the bottom here, okay? And don't forget to mount your ammo. I was going to say the Gatling uses a 20mm tungsten. So I've got 2 ammo clips mounted into that, and I've got a set of longswords on the outside, and they take 25mm. So I'll make sure I put a little bit of ammo on them, if I have any more. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. Okay, and then I've got one of the Bearing M3As and an Omsky 6 up top on the ball turret. Theory behind that being that, in my experience, the ball turret typically is about the last thing to get taken out on the Hornet. The wings, I lose a wing all the time. So I wanted my guns on the wings to not be necessarily the highest rate of fire. They're good damage. I should have probably just went ahead and sprung for the 11s, but I'll get them down the road. But the 25 Mike, I like that. Really long range. That's what I like about it. So let's get this show on the road here. You see what I've done. Well, the theory I was going to test, these two slots up front allow me to mount guns. So keeping with the whole fast firing, but I wanted those on the nose, so it's really a better line of sight for your eye. I guess some people like that coming from your peripheral, but the tracers, to me, it's just more crap on the screen I don't need. There's enough stuff flying around out there. I like to know that when my reticle tells me I've got the shot, I pull the trigger and it hits. I don't need to see the tracers. That's one thing with the longsword. I do hope they change that. I'd like the bolt, because it is a singular slower rate of fire, to have a slightly longer trail tail on it. But it doesn't need to be looking like the Omsky 6. The 25 Mike. Also, it needs to shoot just a tad bit faster. It doesn't have to be a machine gun, but it needs to have a little snappier rate of fire, or the 11 does. Either case. I'm not even talking. I'm talking half of a tenth of a second. I think would be a good improvement. Because I've also seen that you can spam the trigger on the ballistic on the longsword series. Not so much on the Omskys, but because the longsword does not require as much energy to fire. If it doesn't require any more than a Bulldog, probably less than that per shot, because it's not that type of gun. If you click the trigger and then click it again, you're more likely to get a higher rate of fire than if you just hold and watch it cycle. So that being said, I think if they increase the rate of fire like 7/10 of a second, 7.5, right? That if they let you do that, and I don't see a reason why they shouldn't. I mean, there's machinery out there that has buttons that you can do the same thing with. If you hold the button, you get a repetitive cycle, but if you tap the button, you can get a clean, crisp cycle without a jam or anything, but it's faster. So I'm not against that. Just speed up the rate of fire a little bit. It should fire like maybe as fast as a heavy semi-automatic rifle or something. I would just say. Now the 35 I think should fire slower. It's a single barrel design. If it was like a dual, then I would say maybe a little faster. Which is another thing that I want to talk about before I launch. Assigning your weapons so far into groups, you can only do that in the cockpit. I look for that to be implemented here at this level, where you'll be able to go ahead and set what things are powered and which aren't when you take off. But right now, since it's all through the Arena Commander module, you do that in the cockpit. So I would actually recommend putting if you'd like to use the longsword broadsword combos, or if you like to use the heavy lasers like the Omskys, set them to 2 different firing groups. That way you can fire one, then fire the other, then fire one, and they won't seem to take as long. When you fire them in tandem, or linked together like that, it really takes a lot longer to get your secondary shot off. So if you're really close and you miss that first one because now that we have our target lead boxes, you just didn't quite lock it in and line the shot up before you took it, then you have another shot there. And with those types of guns, that is a lot better than pew 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 pew. To me, I like that alternating rate of fire. So let's get into it here, and we'll check out how this all looks and how this all flies. Oh, one other thing, just a note. I'm sure most of you that have checked this out have noticed this, but that little trial weapon sled that CGI gave us, CIG gave us back with the other hangars, that's still in here. And if you pop that into the ship area, there's a bearing M3A laser and a 2B mount, which if you're flying an Origin 300i, there's only one 2B mount on that, and that's under the nose. So that's that actuating, that really nice movable gun that's under the nose. Now you have two of them. So you could put that on your wing with the other one. Move the other one from the nose to the wing, and have the nose gun be your your line of sight straight firing gun. And you'll probably have a lot better success rate. So, to do that, again, you have to move it over to weapons, and this will stay there. And then you just drag and drop, and you can take that mount off and drop that too. All right. Yeah, so I want you to see how many times I ejected, and I didn't get killed with a gun run on that. That was everybody and their brother just decided it was time to shoot a missile at me.
Lock. Scanning. Lock.
Gotcha.
Target destroyed. Shields charging. Scanning.
How about Von Stice? 33, kill face. Let's go after Jackster, because I don't think he can see me. Oh! Who put the rock there?
Last Resort Production.